Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope everyone is having a great day today, no matter where they are in the world. Before I talk about XRP, I need to start with a quote by Vincent van Gogh. What he said is one of the clearest signs yet of where this asset is going. He said that original XRP will be hard to find for sale in just a couple of years because it grew up, not because it failed. Not because people stopped being interested, but because businesses finally understood what XRP is. He said that in the future, ETFs, custodial gateways, and bank-managed frameworks will be the only ways to put money at risk. That was the moment when the whole puzzle fell into place. Take a look. Retailers think that the future will be like the past every time. They believe that there will always be platforms, open order books, and XRP that can be bought with the touch of a button. But that's not how these changes happen. If XRP is to become the global liquidity backbone and the settlement layer for tokenized assets, FX corridors, institutional payments, real-time cash flows, and cross-network value transfer, then it can't continue to be an asset that anyone can buy and sell without any worries. That's why his 15-year plan seems so important, because you can see each step happening right in front of you. And this is the part that most people miss. Most small buyers will get out of the market long before this happens. They will sell when prices start to move. They're going to sell at psychological marks. They'll sell because they don't know what real shortage looks like. People have talked for years about how $10 is the point where most people give up and leave. They will too. It will then push other people to hold longer, but most won't even get close to 3 digits. And while stores empty their shelves, ETFs will quietly buy a lot of XRP. More liquid is taken out of the pool with each movement. Every buyer from an institution makes the coming squeeze worse. Take a look back at the beginning of the XRP CETF. Day 5. Over $26.5 million worth of trades and $13 million coming in. These aren't small orders from stores. A structured buy, an automatic allocation, and programmatic accumulation are some of these. XRP will keep being swallowed as long as money keeps coming in. Now that Bitwise has been cleared, another fund will start taking XRP out of circulation one piece at a time. The big one comes next week, John Franklin Templeton. If there's one issuer that can do $1 billion in volume and imports right away, it's them. They aren't filing these ETFs just to see what they are. They're filing them because people already want them. The government doesn't follow the hype. They look for cash engines. Don't miss the XRP Millionaire Blueprint if you want to know how the richest 1% are getting ready for the XRP age, how they think, how they time their wealth accumulation, and how they build wealth that changes their lives. Use the comment that is saved below to get it. Something is very clear when you look at the numbers. Most people who own XRP right now have lost money because they bought it when it was worth more. It doesn't matter though. That's not the story. What matters is what happens when there is a supply shock and system acceleration at the same time, when the charts stop moving side to side and start moving like a spring that has been curled up. But the truth is that shortage could start as soon as next year, not 2030 like many people think. What's the crazy part? It could happen even faster because of all the escrow, custodial buckets, and non-circulating amounts that are not shown on public dashboards. Even though the supply charts don't show it, a lot of XRP has already been bought. People think there is more money in circulation than there really is. Then there's RLUSD. This is where the chessboard gets interesting. In this case, RLUSD is not the rival. The new one is not this, it's the ramp for getting on. It's the opening, you know. Pay attention to what Phil Kwok said. The world gets on board with XRP thanks to RLUSD. His list of steps could not have been more correct. Start using RLUSD on Ethereum. Get institutions to work together. Let them know that those rails are slow and cost a lot. Once they're ready to go, flip them over to the XRP system. That's how you carry out a vampire attack worth billions of dollars. You don't fight Ethereum. People use Ethereum for a while, but then they move on to something better. It's smart, it's clever, and it's already happening. Because this is the truth. Today, everyone talks about XRP in terms of dollars. But what about when XRP hits $1,000 or more? Will the dollar even matter then? People won't be wondering how much one XRP is worth at that point. The question on their minds is, how much XRP does a house cost? How many XRP does it take to buy a car? In terms of what it can buy, how much is my XRP really worth? You have a very different view of the future when you think about protocol value instead of cash value. The best part is now here. Passive income will be everything in that future. Why would someone want to sell XRP once different ways to stake, route institutional payments, and split liquidity income start to become available? Why trade an item that is going up in value for a currency that is going down in value? It's like giving up your online rights in the 1990s to buy more fax machines. Take a look at the cues from institutions. Citi's CEO is talking about how clients want fast global money movement 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She said 24/7 more than once because that's what people want. No one wants to have to wait. No one wants trouble. No one wants to pay a lot of money. And Ripple created the one method that is meant to do just that. XRP isn't a trend. It is not a story. For large-scale liquidity problems in the real world, this is an infrastructure system that works. People don't see this part until it's too late. There hasn't even been tokenization yet. Tokenized markets are about to go through the roof now that the gates are about to open. Everything, stocks, bonds, commodities, real estate, funds, currencies, and more. When that happens, XRP takes over as the routing layer, the fabric of the city, the equal amount of cash. Do people really believe that the piece of property that closes global tokenized markets will always be cheap? ETF makers don't do that at all. As long as the price is low, retailers are busy, and the window is still open, they want to buy as much XRP as possible. But that time is going away. It's gone for good after it's gone. Bitcoin and XRP look the same now as they did in 2016. At that time, everyone said Bitcoin was dead, too dull, not moving. Then all of a sudden, it exploded and never looked back. XRP has the same shape, the same compression, and the same energy that is wound up. Folks believe they will sell, now and then buy back for less money. However, XRP doesn't wait when it wants to run. It doesn't ask. It doesn't let you know. It just goes. The old method is already showing signs of wear. The OCC said that banks can hold crypto as a concept. The FED is tightening its control over the storage of digital assets. The FDIC is making plans for how to protect digital assets. It's like every regulator, agency, and organization is pulling in the same direction. Banks that hold crypto. Banks that use crypto. Crypto is being used by banks. Tweets let people fight all they want. The organizations are telling you straight out what will happen. Plus, as XRP's part of the crypto market grows, mainstream media in other countries are already talking about $12, $16, and even more. They're not making guesses. Adoption trends are being looked at. They are keeping an eye on the liquidity figures. They see things that most people don't want to see. When you see news outlets in Germany freely talking about XRP, including price targets, market share growth, and structural shifts, you can see how different the conversation is around the world compared to the United States. They aren't stuck on old stories over there. They're not getting in the way of Bitcoin maxi culture. They are looking at XRP in terms of how useful it is, how liquid it is, and how it fits into the bigger picture. At the same time, people in the US are still trying to persuade regular people that banks will never use crypto. Every big organization is moving toward real-time payment rails, even though banks are filing patents, building tokenization platforms, and talking about their digital asset plans in public. And they're not building those lines out of nostalgia. They're putting them together on whatever works. And that's the main point that most conversations leave out. XRP isn't trying to be the most important story. It's not trying to be the most popular thing ever. It clears up a problem that the world's banking system can't handle on its own. It's not like Citi, JP Morgan, and others are hoping the world changes when you listen to what they say. It's about making things for a world that has already changed. Tokenized payments, institutional settlement, on-chain liquidity, and moving money around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People around the world are eager to begin. It doesn't want to have problems. That's not what it wants. It wants quick judgment, trust, and the ability for all systems to work together. And XRP is right where those two things meet. People still don't think this is important enough, which is exactly why ETF makers are so happy. As people argue, more and more of them are gathering. They're adding to their pools while retail is looking at the bad news. They are getting ready for the real supply crunch by building a stock. This is where things change. When tokenized markets go crazy, XRP is the currency that can handle the volume. Not just in theory, not maybe, not one day. In terms of structure, by choice. That's why each word from the government is important. There's a reason why the OCC says banks can hold crypto as capital. It's not a side note. It's safe to go. It's not bureaucracy when the Federal Reserve changes its rules for keeping digital assets safe. That's the building blocks. It's not a guess that the FDIC is working on protection plans for tokenized holdings. That gets you ready for a system shift. Not seeing this makes some people think we're back in 2021. This is a very different setting, though. Back then, crypto was driven by regular people. Right now, crypto is controlled by institutions. It was full of hype back then. Today, it's all about strategy integration. At that time, most assets were trying to show the world why they were important. The world is now choosing which assets really do, and XRP has spent more than a decade showing that it works in real life, not just on marketing slides. Value routing is necessary when the global liquidity system fails, when cross-border payment is important, and when tokens represent real-world assets. And that's exactly why XRP was made. Take a look at the building. Value can be moved quickly and cheaply with XRP. It can do this on a structural level too. It helps different currencies accept each other. It makes it possible to connect tokenized properties. It deals with cash that is moving around. Plus, that's before we talk about the tools for interoperability that are being built around it. The onboarding process is already running, but most people don't know it. The ecosystem is being pulled into by groups that don't even know it. When they see how much faster Ethereum rails are than XRP rails, they will automatically switch. Slower methods aren't chosen by businesses. What works is picked by them, and if something saves them money, time, or trouble, they will have to change. It's crazy that even though all of this is going on, there's still a story online that XRP is old or not important. While that's going on, every organization is circling it like it's the missing piece. They're not going to give away their plans. They meet in secret, file papers quietly, work together carefully, and then flip the switch when the global framework is ready. That's why small buyers who think they can buy back later are risking a lot. The price won't act like a normal cryptocurrency once banks have most of the supply. ETFs will rebalance, banks will change liquidity, and global routes will grow. All of these things will make scarcity worse. A big asset moving from an open retail market to an institutional payment layer in real time is something we have never seen happen. But that's exactly what's coming together. The story of Bitcoin is based on faith. The story of XRP is based on how well it works. A Bitcoin is a way to store value. XRP claims to have global liquidity. Bitcoin stands for digital gold. XRP says that money moves in real time. These jobs are different. Those are not the same jobs. Things won't go the same way for them. A lot of people believe that the market will slowly change when the flip happens and XRP passes Bitcoin. It's not going to happen. It is going to be rough. It will happen quickly. It will be one of the fastest moves of cash in the history of the financial world, because this is what will happen when XRP is used for payment. The markets start to price things based on it. Liquidity starts to flow based on need, not on name. It's faster and cheaper, so treasury staff start to use it. It's used by payment networks because it makes their jobs easier. It is used by capital markets because tokenized settling is the next step forward. That movement doesn't go backwards once it starts. The payment process can't go back to taking 3 days. You can't go back from systems that are error-prone to ones that are instantaneous. The road only goes forward. A lot of people forget that XRP is fighting with more than just crypto. It has to compete with old methods. Also, old systems are already lost. Once banks said crypto had no future, now they say they need to use digital assets to stay competitive. To stay relevant, payment networks that didn't use blockchain before now depend on tokenized lines. Regulators who used to ignore the business are now writing rules to help and control it. The whole world is changing, and you can feel the stress. The XRP picture is still alive. This is loading. It is winding up. Like a spring, it's pulling energy in. Each move to the side makes the bands tighter. Every period of stability sets the stage for a huge breakout. This is exactly what history shows will happen. In 2016, Bitcoin looked dull, flat, and dead. After that, there was the biggest bull run the world had ever seen. Before it takes off, XRP shows the same signs, the same long-term support structure, the same accumulation zones, and the same quiet phase of stealth. Finally, let's talk about the mind, because no one tells people about this part. It won't be nice when XRP starts to move. It won't be easy to guess. Plus, it won't give you perfect starting points. It will move quickly up and down, leaving people behind. That's the reason why most stores sell out too soon. They aren't ready for the changes that can happen during a steep rise. They believe that every little fix is the best, in a fear. They leave. After that, they watch it keep going up without them. At the same time, institutions grow through instability. They know how to do it. They are set up to do it. They don't go after. They don't have FOMO. They don't buy based on how they feel, but on processes. So individual investors get out early while institutions hold on for a long time. And once most of the XRP is locked up by institutions, the market works in a completely different way. There won't be a lot of push to sell. You won't keep getting dumps. You won't go through fear attacks. As tokenized settlement goes through, demand will rise and supply will slowly shrink. That's where the real change takes place, because once all of these things are tokenized, bonds, stocks, real estate, commodities, and foreign exchange flows, you need a neutral asset to connect them all. Global funding can't happen on networks that are too slow. You can't settle markets worth $1 trillion on chains that get clogged up when prices go up. You need something that is designed to handle a lot of data and grow as needed. That's what XRP is doing. That's why ETFs are important. That's why banks are getting ready. That's why officials are getting along. That's why the talk around the world is already miles ahead of the US. From here on out, the momentum speeds up into the next step. This is not advice about money. As soon as tokenized rails start to make liquidity available, XRP moves into a whole new category. It's no longer just a coin. It is the machinery. That's the part that most people still don't get. They are still thinking about price charts and short-term bets, while institutions are setting up their positions based on function, scalability, and long-term control. Money doesn't follow trends when it moves in the real world. It moves to save time. The The goal is to cut costs. It moves quickly. It moves for approval around the world. And the world gets a lot smaller when you look at which asset meets all of those conditions at the same time. Because of this, XRP is being talked about seriously outside of the US, but the crypto Twitter crowd hasn't even started to understand it. Most people don't realize how fast this change is happening. Tokenization is no longer a far-off idea. It's happening in real life with banks, clearinghouses, and big issuers. The demand for XRP gets stronger every time a new corridor opens, a new market tries on-chain settlement, or a new issuer tokenizes assets. Since tokenized markets will soon be used all over the world, they will need a neutral, fast, and liquid way to join. XRP goes from being a choice to being the norm at that point. Speed is one of the most confusing parts of this whole shift. People think it takes decades to adopt a child. It doesn't, not when everyone has the same goals. It doesn't take 10 years for institutions to switch to a better system that saves them money right away. They need clear rules, operational systems, and people they can trust to keep their money safe. All three are coming at the same time. With the OCC's new rules, the Federal Reserve's changes to supervision, and the FDIC's work to get insurance ready, ETF structures are being accepted faster than ever. Everything leads to one thing. A lot of digital money is going to be able to move around. For XRP, this change is happening right now in the slipstream. That's why the flows of ETFs are so important. They are not a way to get hype. They're like a pipeline, a constant way for structures to absorb energy. XRP is taken off the open market every time money comes in. With each rebalance, quantity gets smaller. Every addition makes it harder for retailers to get cash. At some point, it's theoretically impossible for retail to get big enough to matter. It's meant to be that way. When assets move up to the business settlement layer, they are no longer available for free. The trend is the same as what we've seen with metals, rare goods, and foreign savings. The more important they are to the whole system, the less easily the average person can get to them. This is the exact reason why XRP will not act like a normal cryptocurrency once the break starts. Bitcoin went up because of speculators and spreading stories. XRP goes up because it is useful and helps connect global financial systems. The results of those two routes are very different. One is based on faith. The other one is based on having to. There's no need for people to believe in something that works. It works, so they use it. That's why banks will use it. That's the reason why organizations will use it. Tokenized markets will be able to get around that because of this. It has nothing to do with personal taste. It has to do with operational benefit. You can already see the difference in how people think. Those who understand usefulness and those who stick to old stories. The people who study the market know that once XRP starts moving, it won't do so slowly. It will move very quickly because of real-world use, institutional funding, and the growth of global corridors. Financial companies don't buy small amounts when they need cash. They come in big. They come in with a plan. That's when supply and demand meet at a level that most small buyers have never seen before. And the next round of volatility isn't like the volatility of a speculative object. It's the instability of a global settlement layer that is getting older. Each new path, relationship, or tokenized market puts more pressure on the old ones. And when that pressure builds up, prices go up at an exponential rate. Most things go up in value and then drop. As each global use case starts, XRP will grow, then contract, then grow again, and finally settle at completely new levels. The market isn't used to seeing things move like this. This is known as structural repricing. We've seen hints of this before. When XRP has broken out in the past, it has never moved slowly. It has moved very quickly. But those changes didn't happen because of demand from institutions, a regulatory system, ETFs, tokenization going on at the same time, or banks publicly getting ready. Imagine the same kind of explosive behavior on top of adoption on a world scale. The structure is very different, and retail speculation does not set the limit. The value of the markets that settle through it tells you what it is. This is the part that most people don't think about enough. The way we think about XRP's value now won't work in the future. It won't be about how much it is in dollars. It has to do with matching it to the ability to buy things. When a protocol turns into a global settlement layer, the question of how much one XRP is worth changes to what one XRP can do. After that, you should think about things in protocol units instead of cash. That's when a house might only cost a few XRP. Then, a car might cost a few XRP. The measurement system changes when paper money stops being stable and tokenized value takes over. There will be a huge change in how people think and feel soon. People who sell their stocks too soon will be left out of history. People who know what's going on will be ready for one of the biggest changes in wealth in our lives. No, XRP is not just a digital thing. A confidence layer, a liquidity engine, a bridge, and a global settlement tool are some of the things that it does. As the use of tokens grows, institutions get bigger, and the infrastructure is finished, the world is being pulled straight onto the lines that XRP was designed to provide. There are signs all over, things are getting stronger, the change is happening faster, and the clarity is clear for people who watch the system instead of following the noise.